Good morning, everyone. Now that I've asked you to make your way to your seats, I'm going to ask you to rise for our national anthem performed by the U.S. Marine Band. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today on this historic occasion as we celebrate Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center GW Health. My name is Nova McGrew, the Director of Admitting here at Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center GW Health. Today, you will hear from the mayor and leaders who have been instrumental in bringing to fruition the first new hospital in Washington, D.C. in 25 years. Before we proceed with remarks from our distinguished speakers, we would like to recognize Ava Barber. Ava is a high school student who lives in Ward 8. She is an artist. Ava is an artist who did the painting of the hospital that will be in your gift bag that you'll receive when you leave. Ava is right there in front of us. Thank you, Ava. Your painting of the hospital is a wonderful keepsake for this occasion. Now, it is my honor to introduce Latrina Owens, the Director of St. Elizabeth East. Ms. Owens.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the St. Elizabeth East District right here in the Great Ward 8. My name is Latrina Owens, and I'm the Executive Director of the St. Elizabeth East Redevelopment within the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development under the leadership of Deputy Mayor Nina Albert. And Southside, y'all already know. Come on, Southside! That's right! Southside, we outside today, baby! Woo! Not just outside physically, but outside the box and definitely outside of any expectations people had for what this space could be. It is always a true privilege to welcome our neighbors, our partners, and our extended community to our home east of the river. This isn't just geography, this is legacy, where generations have persevered, where stories have been passed down, and where culture has never been manufactured. We take pride in showing the city and the world what's really possible when community leads. Every time we mark a milestone here, whether it's a peace walk, a groundbreaking, a ribbon cutting, a Mystics game, or a go-go concert that gets the block jumping, I want people to feel something new, to see something different, and to be inspired, not just impressed. Let's be clear. Let's be very clear. None of this would be possible without the rock-solid, ride-or-die commitment of Mayor Muriel Bowser. Her vision, her investments, and her unwavering love for Ward 8 have been the heartbeat behind this campus and everything it's becoming. Through every phase, she's been standing on business, not just as your mayor, but as a true champion for this community. I'm going to say it like you. Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, GW Health, isn't just a hospital. It's a promise fulfilled and a beacon of health, hope, and healing in Ward 8. It stands as proof of what's possible when equity meets investment. And we are proud to call this world-class facility our own. It's been a long time coming, and we wouldn't be here without the leadership of Mayor Bowser, the support of the D.C. Council, ANC-8C, the Congress Heights and Ward 8 community, and all of the incredible district agencies, contractors, and partners who have made this project possible today. With that, please join me in welcoming Ms. Marisa Rayford.
Good morning, my fellow Washingtonians. Proximity, proximity, proximity. Hi, guys. My name is Marisa Rayford. I'm a new mom who is very excited about this new hospital here in Ward 8. Proximity, a term you will hear throughout my speech. Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, GW Health, opening here in Ward 8 not only marks progress, but a necessity of the progress in east of the river. This new hospital will provide soon-to-be mothers and community the opportunity to have access to quality health care close to home. Another great addition is the state-of-the-art trauma care, which has been needed on this side of town for the longest. I believe more lives will be saved because of this great care and proximity. As a mom of a 2-year-old, I had to venture to Georgetown University Hospital for my maternity care during my pregnancy due to lack of care in Ward 8. This was hectic at times due to traffic, distance, and frequency. I'm happy that future mothers, community members will now have the opportunity to get that quality care closer to home and have this new state-of-the-art hospital here in Southeast DC, equipped with a level 2 NICU. That's so amazing. I want to say thank you to Mayor Bowser on keeping this promise to the community by bringing this comprehensive and integrated system of care to a community where it was very much needed. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce our mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, Ward 8. Good morning, Ward 8. Good morning, Washington, D.C. Welcome to the beautiful Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, GW Health. I want to thank everybody assembled. I want to acknowledge our director here at St. Elizabeth East, Latrina Owens. Give her a big round of applause. Latrina failed to mention that under her direction and leadership and with Deputy Mayor Albert and our entire team, we've invested over $1 billion here in Ward 8 at St. Elizabeth's, where we've welcomed new residents. We brought the Whitman Walker Clinic. We brought the Care First Arena. We're about to bring a library and now open our beautiful new hospital. I want to thank everybody for their stories. And you're going to hear throughout the day directly from people who will be impacted by this wonderful, wonderful promise kept. So if you are here today, you know what this project means for DC, especially for Washingtonians who call east of the river neighborhoods their home. And I know I speak for the council members, and we will hear from a couple today, when we say we are proud to live up to our commitment, even when some people didn't think we would be here today. But I want to recognize the chairman of the council, Council Chairman Phil Mendelson. Give him a big round of applause. At-large Council Member Kenyon McDuffie. At-large Council Member Robert White, Ward 1 Council Member Brianne Nadeau, Ward 7 Council Member Wendell Felder, At-large Council Member Christina Henderson, who chairs the Council's Committee on Health. I also want to recognize my predecessor and former council member who's here, Vincent C. Gray. You know, Vince was mayor, chairman of the council, council member, director of human services, and tireless advocate for health care in the District of Columbia. He also, and I'll say this because we're in budget season, protected $300 million in the budget for this hospital. His leadership and passion for this project never wavered. And I told people, I've said before, that they're going to thank the old mayor and the current mayor for getting us here today. So thank you, Mayor Gray. So every project that we complete in the district has a long list of thank yous. And sometimes I truncate it or go fast. But this time, I'm not going to do that. Because sometimes when we cut ribbons and we're open buildings and we deliver on the things that we promise, people think it just kind of happened. That, you know, one day we came to Ward 8 and there was a hospital. But I have to tell you, there is a complicated brew of work and partnership that got us here today. And so this is a similar one, a fantastic public-private partnership with this magnitude and importance has taken a village. And so let me say thank you. Let me say thank you to Ward 8, every neighborhood, every community, and every A&C commissioner. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want to thank our present and former healthcare providers, our hospital association and its members who have supported this vision from moment one. I especially want to thank the members of the hospital's Community Advisory Committee who are here today. Please stand up and be recognized. I want to also thank our team at DC government, the best in the nation to do it, especially at this time when government and public service workers are being maligned and treated unfairly. I want to say how grateful I am to the 37,000 people who work for us in DC government. He's not going to like this, but I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Wayne Turnage to stand up and take a bow. I want to acknowledge Ben Stutz on Wayne's team, who is our project director, who is somewhere out here. Ben Stutz, congratulations. And I want to just say, in I think one of my first speeches when I was elected mayor, I made the promise that we would build a full-service hospital. I like to tell this story. And Wayne literally pulled me to the side when I stepped off the stage, and he said, "What did you say?" And I said, "Let's get to it, Wayne." I also want to thank my team at the Department of General Services. Where's DGS? DGS is the district's real estate arm, and they have just done an amazing job working with our partners to deliver this building. I want to recognize DC Health. Dr. Bennett, thank you for being here. The DC Department of Buildings. I see Hamlin back there. Nothing happens without a permit. Fire and EMS, who will make sure that our residents are getting here quickly and safely. DemPed, who has the vision to make sure that this campus is a complete campus, a complete town for the neighborhood, but also a destination for the rest of the city. Department of Energy Environment, Risk Management, DOES, DSLBD, DDOT, and so many more. I also want to recognize our incredible construction and design teams managed by Universal Health Services. And you'll hear me refer to UHS, who is our hospital provider. And one of our main goals was to work with people who run hospitals to run this hospital. Hospitals, in our view, shouldn't be run by the city. And that design team was led by Turner and MCN, HOK, and McKissick and McKissick. Give them a big round of applause. I want to thank all of our union members, all of our CBE businesses, our private sector partners, the Frederick Douglass Family Initiative, and Amazon Web Services. I also want to recognize, as I just mentioned, UHS, Universal Health Services, and their president, Mark Miller, our new Cedar Hill CEO, Anthony Coleman. Where is Anthony? Right there. I want to give a special recognition to a woman. We looked across the table from each other early on in this process, and I said, Kim, look me in my eyes. Can we do this? And she said, yes, Mayor, we can. Vice President at UHS, Kimberly Russo. Give her a big round of applause. Also, Senior Vice President Vic Verdina, we want to thank you for your commitment and your partnership. And these UHS partners, our partners, when I say partners, I mean partners, like for the next 75 years. So I also want to thank our academic partner. Another goal of ours was to have a respected provider of health services. When people say we want in Ward 8, we want the same things as people in Ward 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, we want the same things. And so we are proud of our partnership with GW Health. And I want to thank Dr. Barbara Bass. Where's Barbara? There she is, Dr. Barbara Bass from the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and Bill Elliott, the CEO of the GW Medical Associates, for bringing their world-class research and medical professionals to this new facility. Thank you, Michelle Riley Brown and Children's National Hospital. Give Michelle a big round of applause. Michelle, you must be coming up on 2 years as the president and CEO at Children's, where we have enjoyed an amazing relationship. The most children in Washington, D.C. live in Ward 8. And so it's very important that we have this partnership. And I also want to recognize and thank for 60 years of service to the community, past and former employees and leadership at the United Medical Center who have served admirably. So thank you to CEO Jackie Payne Borden and Board Chair Angel Jacobs and the entire team at the United Medical Center for your professional support during this transition to Cedar Hill. So with that, this is my 10th year as mayor. And I made the promise in 2015 that we would be here today. And we've done it. Thank you. So during the construction of this hospital, this is what happens when DC spends money on DC. We spent $123 million with CBEs, which included $40 million to CBEs in wards 5, 7, and 8. Over 500 Washingtonians worked on this project, including new hires, 300 from wards 5, 7, and 8. When we celebrated the opening of the groundbreaking here, I introduced a young man who was working on the project, who could see the cranes from his house here in Ward 8. He too was a parent whose priority was having high-quality child care close to home. And when you see this hospital, you will understand exactly that. Fairly recently, I was at the opening of the new pavilion at Georgetown, and when Wayne walked me through the building here at Cedar Hill when we were finishing up, I looked at the emergency room, and it was equipped in the exact same way as the Georgetown pavilion. And then I knew we had got it right. And most importantly, and Dr. Nesbitt is here, and she called me one time and she says, Mayor, I have some tough news for you. Let me tell this story. And I remember saying before she delivered the tough news, I said, are you telling me or are you asking me? And she said, I'm talking to you as a regulator of hospitals. And she says, I have to close the maternal ward at United Medical Center. Our children aren't getting what they need, and we have to close it. And I said, then we have to close it. We cannot look at a family and say, we know that the care right now is not the best of the best for your kids. And we worked from that day on to make sure that we would have a full-service maternity provider and services here at Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center. So I want to thank that doc for a tough decision and thank all of you for making sure we got here today. And our trauma patients will be treated here quickly with the average travel time for a Ward 8 trauma patient to reach Cedar Hill Regional Medical, 7 minutes. Residents can be treated for a full range of emergency and outpatient behavioral services. I have a lot more in my notes, but I've said a lot already. But mostly know this. I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of you, Ward 8. I'm proud of the private sector who came together around a tough challenge and said, we want to be a part of the solution for the communities that we served and have supported us. And that's why we're here today. So with that, it brings me great pleasure to introduce our partner on the council who has done an amazing job also in leading through a pretty tumultuous and unprecedented time, but also committed to the values that we share for Washington, D.C. Chairman Mendelson.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. That's going to be sort of a tough act to follow. I'm going to speak fairly briefly, but more from a council perspective, and then leave to my colleague, Councilmember Christina Henderson, to say more. I first want to acknowledge council members who are present. Councilmember Brianne Nadeau from Ward 1, Councilmember Wendell Felder from Ward 7, Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie at large, Councilmember Robert White at large, and Councilmember Christina Henderson at large. And as Mayor Bowser did, I also want to acknowledge former council member, former mayor, former chair of the council, Vince Gray. It would be difficult to overstate his role in getting us to this point. Vince was a strong supporter of getting this hospital built. Really sometimes angry that we weren't making progress more quickly. So I want to thank you for that and acknowledge your role. And I also want to acknowledge another former council member who was chair of our health committee many years ago, Sandy Allen. And that's actually a good segue because my remarks aren't very long, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the council's support for this hospital. And it starts back in 2000 with the closing of DC General. Sandy Allen was in the thick of trying to keep that hospital from closing and trying to ensure that we had a public hospital and a hospital that was available for all citizens regardless of their ability to pay. So thank you, Sandy, for your work on that. And it was because of that commitment from council members that we wanted to continue to see what I'll characterize as universal access to hospital care. That following the closure of DC General, ultimately the council got involved with trying to prop up what was then Greater Southeast Hospital. We thought that it could continue to operate in the private sector, but ultimately we had to make it a public hospital, but not something that we wanted to keep going forever. That's United Medical Center. And then about 10 years ago, the council began the struggle to ensure that there was money in the capital budget, enough money in the capital budget, that the money in the capital budget stayed in the capital budget, that the planning that that capital budget was to fund was underway, and then ultimately the construction. And I want to, as well as acknowledging and thanking the mayor, acknowledge and thank Rashad Young, who was then city administrator, because I remember that he was the one who negotiated the deal with George Washington, and then I remember the council struggling late at night over making sure that we approved that deal and that this was able to go forward. Go forward with a hospital that has services, full services, as well as being a teaching hospital. Members of the council have known for a very, very long time that there needs to be equity when it comes to health care. And yes, equity is a good word. And that there needs to be access east of the river, that we can't just have hospitals west of the river, that we can't just have a situation where if you live east of the river, it's not just minutes, but it's half hours or longer to get to health care or hospital care on the west side. So having this hospital here east of the river is so important. So today is an end of that struggle, but it's also a beginning of a new hospital and a new system of health care east of the river, and that's a great thing. And with that, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Councilmember Christina Henderson, who's chair of our Health Committee.
Good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled to see this day. I remember when I was here for the groundbreaking. It was just a pile of dirt. And then we came back a few months later. It was still a hole, but there were some poles up at that point. And then every time you sort of drive down, you see more and more. And then when we got to do the final tour, Tony, what you all have been able to build here has been, and it's just incredible. When I first became a council member, one of the things that I wanted to work on was in increasing our healthcare infrastructure that we have in the district. And one of those things was in terms of actual places. How do we build hospitals so that someone doesn't have to travel west in order to get good care or long distances? And so what you see today is a $400 million district investment in that promise. So I want to say congratulations to Mayor Bowser, to Deputy Mayor Turnage, to Ben Stutz and his team on this remarkable work. I really can't name all of the agencies. The mayor did go through all of them, but this was truly a collaborative effort when you have to tick down the list of what it takes on the regulatory side to open up a hospital. There is a long checklist, and so I appreciate the agencies coming together and working as a team on making this happen. I also want to acknowledge Kim Russo and Dr. Coleman for your leadership in bringing us to this important milestone. I've enjoyed our partnership, and I look forward to continuing that close collaboration to ensure that the hospital is meeting the needs of our district community, especially here in Wards 7 and 8. That's the same with Children's National, which we also have an excellent partnership with, as well as GW Health. This is going to make critical connections in terms of the community health centers that we've already opened up, that we still have to do. Haven't forgotten, we still have to open up our ambulatory center in the Great Ward 7. That is next on the list. I'm especially thrilled, though, if you think about it, this is going to be the first time since 2019 that a person will be able to give birth in an actual labor and delivery unit in a hospital east of North Capitol Street. Not east of the river, east of North Capitol Street. That's half the city. And so I look forward to welcoming our first DC resident born here in a couple of weeks, I'm sure. I also want to call out some of the hospital specialty services that will be offered here at Cedar Hill, because I think a lot of people often think of hospitals as just the emergency room or surgery, but Cedar Hill is going to have cardiology, it's going to have neurology, cancer care, all of the various things. And so having these specialties closer to home where folks don't have to take a train or a bus or a ride share service to get there is going to be so, so important. And finally, I do want to take a moment to thank Dr. Payne Borden and the leadership of the United Medical Center for their work that they have done over these last couple of years. I know it has not been easy at all, but their tireless work to ensure that patients still receive excellent care safely and compassionately as we did this transition has been remarkable. We've had lots of conversations and meetings with all of them, and so I do want to acknowledge them. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mark Miller, who is the President and CEO of Universal Health Services.
Thank you. What an impressive group today. I had a lot to say, but the mayor covered about half of it, so I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I'm Mark Miller. I'm the President and CEO of Universal Health. For those of you that don't know us, we're a Fortune 300 company out of Philadelphia. We do this for a living. We run hospitals. We don't do politics. We don't do all the other things that have been so expertly discussed already today. But this we do know how to do. I've been involved tangentially with what's been going on the whole time. I remember our meeting a long time ago in the mayor's office when this was first proposed. And I can honestly tell you, we would not be here today. The city might, but we, Universal, wouldn't be here without two people, and that's Wayne Turnage and Kim Russo. I heard the mayor tell the story about, announcing that this was going to happen, and Wayne saying, what did you just say? Kim probably told me 10 or 15 times, but we have a little different relationship than the mayor and Wayne, and said this is something I really think needs to happen. And we were hesitant, to be honest, mostly because we've never done a partnership like this before. We run hospitals in 39 states. We're the largest behavioral provider in the United Kingdom and the largest behavioral provider in the United States, also a large acute provider. But we've never done a partnership like this. And many times I said to Kim, why do you think this will work? And she said it's a unique opportunity. I won't go into all of it, but it was very important to her and to us at UHS that we play a part giving back to D.C. I used to live here many years ago. I worked at GW when we first acquired the hospital from the university. The last hospital that was built in the district almost 25 years ago was the new hospital we built over in Foggy Bottom. And I was involved with that. Kim made the point to, not just to me, but to our board and everybody at UHS, that we've done very well in the city. We really appreciate our experience in this city over all of those years. And we felt like we could add something to what the city was trying to do here in Ward 8. And suffice to say, this has exceeded all of our expectations. I just was in Las Vegas a few months ago opening one of our other hospitals. This hospital is as nice as any UHS hospital we have ever built. This hospital was delivered on budget and on time. And so I just want to take a minute to thank all of the folks that I work with, everybody at UHS who played a part, Turner, all of the vendors that we worked with to get a job like this done. And again, in partnership with the city, it never would have happened without that close partnership. But even with that, very difficult to get a project like this substantial, done in that way. So thank you to everybody who worked on the project to make this happen in the way that it did. I also want to mention the staff at Cedar Hill. We have hired many new staff members who you will all be meeting in the coming weeks, months, and years, many of whom are from Ward 8, who are local and are going to be able to give back right here in the community. So welcome to them. Thank you for all that they're going to do. And I guess I'll leave it at that. I'm so excited. We're all so excited to be here today to open something. I guess there's just one other thing I want to say. We've heard a lot about having a hospital and the need for a hospital on this side of town. And no doubt, it's been needed for far too long. And with the partnership, not only with UHS, but with GW, and having world-class physicians from GW, who we work with every day in Foggy Bottom, coming over to this side of town, again, this is a fully equipped hospital with a top-level medical staff. The care here will be as good as anywhere else, not only in the district, but in the country. And to be able to achieve that is just really special. And so we're so proud of that. We're very thankful. And I'm honored to introduce your new CEO, Tony Coleman.
Thank you, Mark. I'll keep my comments brief because it's cold. I just want to start by acknowledging everyone who showed up here, particularly everyone from the community. I know that nothing can happen of this magnitude and nothing can be successful without the community. So thank you to the people who live in Ward 7 and the folks living right here in Ward 8 for continually showing up and for also giving me time to learn about what this community needs. I don't presume to come into this community and know what it needs. As a hospital administrator, you have to sit with the people who are closest to the pain and the problems, and you have to listen. And so I want to, again, thank the community for welcoming me and sitting me down and showing me and telling me over the past year and a half what you need. I also want to thank you, Mayor Bowser, and highlight that Cedar Hill represents promises made and promises kept. I want to acknowledge all the council members that have already been acknowledged. Acknowledgement. And I really want to especially call out and publicly acknowledge former mayor and former Ward 7 council member Vince Gray for having the tenacity and the grit to make this hospital a reality. I'm both excited and I'm humbled to be on this project, and I also want to highlight what's already been said about the partnership. Things like this just don't happen by themselves. So Mayor, you have a phenomenal team, and I just want to thank you for having a cohesive team. I think you said 37,000 people. It takes a lot to make that work together, but particularly people like Deputy Mayor Turnage, thank you, Deputy Mayor, Ben Stutz, Larissa Eduardo, and countless others that have helped me kind of navigate all of those agencies that Christina Henderson mentioned, or Councilwoman Henderson mentioned. It's more than a notion. So thank you, guys. Real quickly before I go, I just want to talk on behalf of the staff that are here to serve you, and I'll do it in a little bit of a story. I want to talk about the difference between duty and desire. Okay. So duty is when you do something because you have to. But desire is when you do something because you want to. So just to give you an example, I served in the U.S. Navy, and I was 17 when I joined, and when I found myself on my first ship, there's certain things that you do when you deploy. When you deploy in the military, the ship that you're on or the unit that you're in, it operates 24/7, much like a hospital. And so in addition to your regular duties, which my duties were, on a normal day at sea, I would wake up, I would clean the restroom, I would eat breakfast, and then I would go about my normal duties on the back of the ship, basically preparing my ship to remove explosives from the water. And so that was my job for the day. And then in the evening, we did something called standing watch, where my job was to go up into the pilot house, which steered the ship from midnight until 6 a.m., and make sure that the ship went where the commanding officer said it needed to go, so that by 6 a.m. we were ready to do our job to make sure that the battle group could pass through. Now, as a 17-year-old or 18-year-old kid, I did not want to do that. I didn't want to work all day, go to sleep at 6:30 p.m., wake up at 11:30 p.m., and stand up in the pilot house and look at water as far as your eye could see. But it was my duty. I did it because it was my duty to do so. But after a while, I made the turn. And when I say I made the turn, what I mean is that I realized that I was a part of something bigger than myself. I realized that regardless of what I had went through that day, the commanding officer and my shipmates were counting on me to get the ship where it needed to be so that we can mine the water so that the battle group could pass through safely and protect our nation's interests. And that's when I made the turn, and it changed from my duty to my desire. I didn't do it because I had to anymore. I did it because I wanted to. And so I say that because over the past year and a half, the staff that are at Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, I've had the pleasure of leading, and I've had the pleasure of observing each one of them. And I've had the duty or the pleasure of observing the change for them as well. Some of them came in with a desire, so that was cool, no change needed. But a lot of the staff, I watched them come in because this was a good job or because they knew what it meant. But I watched it change from duty to desire. And what I mean by that is many times staff have worked 6, 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, coming back on Saturdays, coming back on Sundays, some staff members beating me into work because it was their desire, and it's our desire to serve this community and provide a hospital that we know this community deserves. So I want to shout out to all the staff, Cedar Hill, where y'all at? All right, yeah. It is my supreme pleasure to lead you all. And in order to lead, you have to follow. And so sometimes I have to follow, and I have to listen, and I have to take a back seat. But it's all good because I'm only one person. And when you're in a job like this, you have a lot of things coming at you. And so you have to ground yourself, and you have to listen to people that are close to the pain and the problem. So thank you to the staff. I'll just end really quickly by two more thank yous. Mark Miller, I want to thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me a chance. I appreciate everything that this company stands for. And Kim Russo, thank you for giving me a chance. I still remember, and I'll tell this story, I still remember our first in-person interview. I flew to D.C., and everybody that knows Kim knows that Kim is like a part-time runway model. Her fashion is always on point. And so Kim and I met. We had an interview over lunch. Of course, it was at the Four Seasons because that's Kim. And I just remember sitting across the table from Kim, and she opened up to me about her vision and her strategy to take your vision and make it a reality, not just to build a hospital in Ward 8, but to make that hospital part of an integrated delivery network of care so that residents in Ward 7 and 8 could not only get the urgent care or the primary care or the emergency care that they needed, but they can also get specialty care. And Kim, when you told me your strategy, it was like the stars and the moon opened up, and I said, okay, this is where I want to be. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Thank you for gently nudging me when I needed it. I know it was all in love, so I really appreciate you. And I just want to tell you that you are respected and you're admired, Kim. I also want to really quickly call out, as you do a tour, you'll see the beautiful artwork that was made here by local artists. One that I want to call out is Mr. Imar Hutchins. Please raise your hand, sir. He commissioned my absolute, one of my favorite pieces of art in this hospital. So thank you for that. And with that, I will say to my staff, wherever you are, thank you again, and I'll see you at work.
Wow, that was wonderful. Everyone has just been, this is really a beautiful sight, I gotta say. Beautiful place next door, beautiful campus, ever growing, and boy, what a really, just watching the faces in this room is very exciting. So my name is Barbara Bass. I'm the Vice President for Health Affairs and the Dean of the School of Medicine at George Washington University. And it's really my great honor to be here with you to celebrate this historic moment for the district and yes, for us to George Washington University. On behalf of that university, I want to extend my deepest thanks to Mayor Bowser and her entire team for their leadership and their unwavering commitment to deliver this vital new facility to the district's healthcare system. And for us, we at GW, we are so looking forward to working with you in this very vibrant, everyday more so community as we pursue excellence in providing health care to alleviate the burdens of disease and injury with the resolute mission to improve health of the residents of our city. I want to thank GW alumnus and former Ward 7 council member and many other things, former mayor, former chair of the council, Vince Gray, for his foundational vision and support for this hospital, and Mr. Wayne Turnage, of course, Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services and Director of the Department of Healthcare Finance, for their tireless efforts over many years and helping to bring Mayor Bowser's commitment and promise of 10 years ago today a reality. I also want to recognize some of my GW colleagues who are here from George Washington University on behalf of University President Ellen Gramberg, who regrettably had long-standing plans to be out of town this day. She has been a most strong supporter of this program since her arrival as our president, as have the presidents before her when this concept was conceived. I also recognize those who are here for the celebration of this event. We have the CEO of the Medical Faculty Associates, Bill Elliott, who's here with us today, stepped into that position a little over a year ago. Our Senior Associate Dean for Population Health, Dr. LaQuandra Nesbitt, well known to this group from her prior remarkable service to the city. We have many of our chairs and leaders of the clinical departments here who are going to be the ones who, with their faculty, will be here providing life-saving services and wellness care in this beautiful new hospital to improve the health and well-being of our community. I also want to express my gratitude to the leadership of Health Service of Universal Health Services, Mr. Mark Miller, who's here with us today, and to Children's National Hospital for your partnership in delivering this incredible new facility. And I want to give a shout out to my partner, Kim Russo, who I've worked with for well over 5 years now on many, many, many matters, and who, as you all heard today, was vital to the formation and execution of delivering this facility here to the city. Thank you, Kim. So, as many of you may know, the George Washington University is a globally recognized research university whose identity really has been shaped by our location in this great capital city of our nation. We are home, GW is, to the first medical school in the district, having just now celebrated our 200th anniversary of creating teaching physicians and other allied healthcare providers and treating the residents of the DC community. 200 years. Throughout our history, George Washington has responded to the ever-changing needs of our community as a leader in research across many disciplines to create a secure and strong future for our home city, our nation, and indeed the world. We are very privileged to serve in those great missions, which today notably is focused on advancing health. As our academic medical program begins its third century, this moment builds on those past 2 centuries that we've invested in health and creating and caring for the well-being of the citizens we have served. Today really is a joyful day that illustrates our deep commitment to this community by bringing world-class care closer here to those that live east of the river. So thank you, Mayor Bowser, your administration, UHS, Children's, and the GW leadership and faculty that I have the great honor of representing today, for your partnership, for your commitment, for your energy, for your abilities to help us all improve the health of the residents of our great city. Thank you. Now my great pleasure to turn the mic over to Michelle Riley Brown, the President and CEO of Children's National.
Thank you, Dean Bass. Good morning, everyone. This is a wonderful day, and just this turnout to support this new hospital, it's incredible to see. I first want to start with a few acknowledgments. I want to thank and acknowledge Mayor Gray and Mayor Bowser. It is because of your vision and your dedication to quality health care that we are here today, so thank you. I also want to acknowledge, and Tony said it, we don't do what we do every day as president and CEOs of hospitals without a team of people behind us. And I want to acknowledge the Children's National family, leaders, physicians that are here today. If you're in the audience, please stand up and let us acknowledge you. And then I would be remiss, and he doesn't know I'm doing this today, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my predecessor of Children's National Hospital, Dr. Kurt Newman. Dr. Newman was the one he's a true advocate and a pillar of health advocacy in Washington, D.C., and has been for many years. And he was passionate about this partnership. And he was the one that started the conversations with Mayor Bowser, with Kim Russo, to ensure that Children's National was a part of this community and a part of this hospital. So Dr. Newman, I know you're here somewhere. If you could stand up and be acknowledged. And then I just want to congratulate Tony Coleman, Kim Russo. It is no small undertaking to build and open a hospital, and I know all too well what that involves. So congratulations and much success. But today is about more than just a new building. It is about a shared commitment to expanding access and improving health outcomes for children and families. At Children's National, we have a proven commitment to families across Washington, D.C., especially those in Ward 7 and Ward 8, where a majority of children live. For more than 20 years, we have proudly provided expert pediatric care in this community, and we are privileged to continue this work at the new Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, GW Health. Starting April 15th, our doctors will be here, ready to provide trusted pediatric emergency care. We are also excited to expand our presence and care for the tiniest patients in the NICU here, another vital step in strengthening services for families. One of the most transformative aspects of this new medical center is its commitment to maternal and child health. Mothers and babies in Ward 7 and 8, as well as the surrounding areas, will have access to the highest level of care close to home. This is a milestone for health access. Children's National is proud to help ensure the very best start for every child. Today is a day of celebration, and it's a celebration of health in our community. We look forward to serving families here for generations to come. And as I like to say, the future is bright at Children's National. Today I will say the future is bright in Ward 7 and Ward 8. Thank you. And it is my distinct pleasure to now introduce Deputy Mayor Wayne Turnage.
I think I'm the last speaker. It is, first of all, good afternoon. It is indeed an honor to offer just a few remarks on this soul-stirring occasion, celebrating the pending opening of Cedar Hill Hospital. I'm especially touched by the presence of my former boss, erstwhile Mayor Gray. During his tenure, we spent long evenings trying to pump sustainable life into UMC until the hope of a new hospital could be realized. Mr. Gray, I will never forget our partnership in those days. As I sat and listened to the wonderful tributes to those who worked on this amazing project. It struck me that both the splendor of this moment and the ineffable promise that is encapsulated by this new hospital belies the fierce battle that Mayor Bowser waged for this project, a battle that on many occasions I feared was irrecoverably lost. That whereas this program has noted more than a few people who worked to make this day possible, but without the strategic leadership, creative thinking, and tactical shrewdness of Mayor Bowser, I have no doubt that the land on which this beautiful edifice now sits would be an empty lot today, a haunting symbol of the disappointment that frequently impales underserved communities of color. Recall that 4 months after the mayor celebrated the signing of the letter of intent with Universal Health Services to operate this beautiful new hospital, a bill broadly defining her plan stalled badly in the council, causing its sponsor, the Venerable Mayor Gray, to table the proposal in disappointing anger. Shortly thereafter, virtually every media outlet in the city predicted the demise of this ambitious project. Some did so with glee. And I cannot count the many nights that I spent talking on the phone with Kim Russo, who is a marvelous CEO, despondent over what I believed was the certain death of this critical project. Little did I know, however, that Mayor Bowser was just getting started. I remember 3 critical actions that she took to rescue this project from the precipice of certain defeat. First, she called her advisors together and forcefully chastised us for allowing this project to get away from the disciplined approach that she preferred that we employ. After one rather scathing meeting, I recall leaning over to the city administrator at that time, Rashad Young, and whispering that if you want to exclude me from future project briefings in the mayor's office, I will not raise a word of protest. Secondly, the mayor skillfully used the media to apply pressure to those who sought to weigh her bill down with deal-killing amendments. Her view was not that the amendments did not have salutary appeal. Rather, she believed these proposals redirected focus away from the central question of the moment. Do the residents of Ward 8 deserve a modern hospital that is embedded in the state-of-the-art integrated system of care? You see, she raised this question and she refocused the debate because she understood a few things. She fully understood the implications of the shocking health disparities for the residents of Ward 8 compared to the balance of the city. She further understood that the $600 to $700 million that healthcare finance spends on the healthcare for residents of Ward 8, that only about 15% of that amount is spent with healthcare providers in Ward 8. More importantly, she keenly grasped that without an integrated system of care in their neighborhood, many Ward 8 residents would continue to delay care until their illnesses become more complex and difficult to treat, fueling the disparities that we talk about. And in her third action, the mayor provided a master class to her advisors on how to best engage and win over project stakeholders. Stakeholders who we believe presented the project with vexing challenges that threatened to consign her proposal for the new hospital to the district's historical dustbin of failed legislation. When the incisive lobbying work that she directed was complete, the determined dissent against this project outside of the Wilson building was tranquilized. Inside City Hall's Holler Chamber in room 500, every council member who voted on the legislation did so in favor of the new hospital. Thus, due in no small part to the mayor's efforts, the goals that she set for this project are realized today. The district has a reliable partnership with one of the premier hospital operators in the country, and who understands what it means to deliver effective health care, and will provide the community with access to a comprehensive set of services allowing D.C. government to finally exit the business of healthcare operations. Mayor, I have frequently stated that while this project is not the most expensive one that I've worked in my career, it is without question the most important because it holds the promise to transform a community that many have sought to forget. It sends the message that the health care of residents who live in the neighborhoods of Congress Heights, for example, is as important to that of their peers who are born into privilege in the Tony neighborhoods of Georgetown. Your seminal accomplishment in making this project a reality, when combined with your adroit leadership and stewardship of this city through some of its most daunting challenges, define you as one of the foremost mayors in my lifetime. And I am so honored to have this opportunity to work for you. Thank you.
Give another hand to Wayne Turnage. And if you needed a dictionary to follow his remarks, welcome to my senior leadership meetings. But I have to share this because I think Kevin one day asked, like, Wayne, where do you get these words? And Wayne shared with us as a kid, he was a voracious reader of the Sports Illustrated. So let's remind our kids to read, read, read. And then you too could be like the formidable Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. So with that, as mayor, I get to deliver keys to the city, and this one is a key to, Cedar Hill. You do a good job. Maybe you'll get a key to the city soon. I'm very stingy with my keys, but we are proud to be here. And Tony, I want to thank you for your outstanding remarks. Leadership matters. We're talking about a building here, but we know that the hospital will be made of people, people who are called to serve, and we expect that they get the best of the best service, the best care, and the most respect. And from your words, I feel like that's exactly what we're going to be able to deliver. So UHS, 75 years, we're going to be together right here at Cedar Hill. Here's the key.
Ben? Okay. All right. Well, I would like to ask everyone if they could remain in their seats, please. I know it's cold. This does conclude our ceremony, but we invite you to stay and enjoy lunch, which is being served right outside of the emergency room, the entrance at the Portico. You are also invited to take a tour of the hospital. If you would like to start with one of our hospital tours before you have lunch, you can gather outside of one of the 3 signs off to the left and just let them know that you're here for the tour and see one of our volunteers. In addition, we invite you to come back on Saturday from 11 to 2 for our block party. We are hosting for the community to celebrate the Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, GW Health. There will be music, there will be food, there will be family and friendly events all outside the hospital. So I hope you all will join us. Thank you for being part of this historic occasion.
3, 2, 1.
Cedar Hill! Okay, we'll take a few questions. Any questions? Yes.
Hi, Mayor. questions on and off topic, but first I want to start. You sounded like you were getting pretty emotional out there talking about this project coming to life. So can you just talk through some of those emotions you're feeling now to see this project come to fruition?
We're just thrilled, Muriel. We're thrilled. It's been a lot of work, a lot of wonderful people involved, very smart people that put the complicated brew of how do you add a hospital in the city, more beds, lines of service, great academic partner, great hospital provider, and be able to deliver it on time and on budget. And that's what we're celebrating today.
You had mentioned 7 minutes for somebody in Ward 8, a trauma patient, to be able to get here. Can you talk about the significance of that little amount of time to get somebody here and treated?
Well, I will probably ask Wayne to talk a little bit more about that. But the difference we're trying to close is when a person is having an emergency and having to cross town, cross a river, on a bridge, through traffic, to get the emergency care that they need, and now having that care closer to home will not just save a few minutes, but we see those as life-saving minutes. And that is the kind of, that's where we like to be, from a call to getting care. 7 minutes is an amazing standard. Yes.
Healthcare finance question. Given the economic situation of the residents in Ward 8, what were the conversations around mitigating healthcare costs, creating a situation where families aren't paying exorbitant fees for hospital visits and other things like that?
Well, we're very proud, and I'll ask Wayne to add more about the health care coverage that we have in our city, probably only second to one other state. In most of the neighborhoods that surround this hospital, many residents qualify for a Medicaid program. And so it does put a point on how important it is as a nation that we stay committed to providing quality insurance through Medicaid.
Sorry, go ahead.
As the mayor noted, the district ranks frequently #1 in the country for health care coverage. We cover 97% of all residents in the city. They either have commercial insurance or Medicaid or Medicare. 90% of the people who live in Ward 8 on Medicaid. We have a payment system in place for this hospital that will ensure that those residents will continue to get access to comprehensive care at zero cost to them. The key is we have to make sure that our match rate from the federal government does not change, and that is what we're working on.
Would you mind delving more into that? And just as a follow-up, what concerns, if any, are there about the hospital's capacity to serve Ward 8 residents of lower economic status while just maintaining facilities?
Well, I don't have any concerns about the capacity and the ability of this hospital to serve Ward 8 residents. I think it would be transformative what this hospital would do for the community. And again, the focus that we have going forward in the immediate is to protect the federal participation rate that we get from Congress and the President, to make sure that we continue to get at least a 50%, a 70% match on the expenses that we pay out of Medicaid, and in some cases a 90% match for folks who received Obamacare.
Felicia Ashley. Oh,
before you start, and I want to make this point, that this is a hospital in Ward 8. Is for people who live close to here, work close to here, but it's also going to be the closest hospital for parts of Ward 6 in Ward 7. There will be providers here that have patients from across the region, and maybe certainly from across the city, and probably from across the region. So we are building a new hospital for Washington, D.C. Yes.
Alan from WTOP. Can you give us an update on where you are in the budget? Have you had any conversations?
We're on the hospital. Any hospital questions?
Felicia Ashley, ABC 7. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Right now we are in a transition phase. So just for the community, with UMC closing, obviously this hospital opening, what does that transition look like in terms of services? I know some are confused on whether they can still go to UMC and when they can start coming here.
Thank you. Wayne?
see if I can remember all the dates. The transition has started. UMC stopped taking patients by delivery from FEMS. I think it was March 31, April 1st. We are in the process now of removing people from UMC so that when this hospital opens its doors on April 15th, there'll be no patients left in UMC. As the CEO for Children stated, they will start seeing patients that morning. So the process of transferring patients who remain has already started, and our hope is that only a few will remain by next week. We're doing really well in that regard.
And just following up, I know one thing that's extremely celebrated, the maternal ward here, as well as the additional floor for support. It was brought up even in the celebration prior that the previous maternal ward had to be closed because it wasn't giving the best services. Hearing that there'll be some things transitioning from UMC to here, can you tell the community what would be different about the services here at this maternal ward versus what they may be familiar with at the previous?
Well, the biggest difference is we'll have a maternal ward, and we'll have a team of qualified doctors and nurses to make sure that when people present needing maternal care, they will receive it. That is the biggest change. For the last 2 or 3 years, there has been no maternal ward at UMC, so that is the biggest difference.
And let me just add that this is not, we're not picking up UMC and putting it at Cedar Hill. So let me be completely clear about that. It's a new building, it's a new operator, it's a new set of staff, and it's an entirely different set of expectations. So it's not just that we picked up once and dropped it here. No, we wouldn't do that. We have created a new hospital, a new operation, and we believe a new culture of excellence.
I just had okay, all right, I got you. I just had a question about the workforce. We know that those who were at UMC earlier, you had workforce there, but how many people does it take to staff a place like this?
Sure.
And then just on the maternal front, how important is it to provide maternal health for especially black women as we enter into Black Women Maternal Week?
Well, it's very important. I think the council member used a factoid that I think bears repeating, that we had no delivery east of North Capitol Street. And so more options closer to home, we think suggest people taking advantage of those options, more prenatal care, better, acute care or specialty care as it relates to the prenatal period, pregnancy, and the postpartum period. So we think all of those will help us have more healthy babies and more healthy moms.
Workforce front?
Oh, let me ask Wayne to talk about the workforce here.
Workforce. This hospital, when it is fully operating, expects to employ over 600 people. I think they will start on the 15th with about 300. There is a first source requirement for a set of jobs that they have to fire. They have to hire 51% residents of DC, but they are. When the hospital opens on the 15th, there will be over 300 employees, and they will eventually ramp up to over 600.
All right, I'll take a few. Yeah.
Just to clarify on the maternal health services, do you expect to have all the labor and delivery rooms open? You expect UHS will have all the labor and delivery rooms open on the 15th, as well as the C-section ORs and the 6 neonatal care beds?
I think the answer to that, all of those things, is yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I could. Yep, I could take a couple off topic.
Yeah, Mayor, to start, obviously we're toward the end of the week here. I know earlier in the beginning of the week you said if the House didn't pass this budget fix this week, then we'd have to make some extraordinary decisions. So where are we at with that?
That's where we are. I don't know if they've recessed for the day. Until they recess, they have the opportunity to make the fix. And if we don't, we move into another stage.
Can you talk about what that stage looks like?
I can't say exactly what it looks like, but we have to resolve the 25 issue created by the CR problem.
And just one more question. I know yesterday at the Council on Governments, there was some discussion about Capital Pride and the Pride Alliance considering telling trans people maybe not to come because of safety concerns. Any thoughts about that? Is that a warning you would heed to people?
I would not. I got a briefing yesterday from the event organizers. We talked about plans, venues, schedule, and the like. And I'm very pleased with the work that they have done. I'm pleased with the kind of the interest that we see based on hotels being booked. And we want everybody to come out. Shakira is the opening headline act on May 31st. And I think the activities go all the way through June 9th. That will include the parade, the Pride Parade that we have every year. Think about it supercharged because it's World Pride. And that's what I have to say about it. We're very excited. We competed for it. We won. And we're proud to showcase the diversity of our city.
Afternoon, Mayor. Again, Felicia Ashley, ABC 7. The letter that you sent to the President's task force, do you know when you plan on releasing that?
I don't know that I did plan on releasing it, but let me think about that and how we can get it out. I can tell you, I can kind of share with you, I think I shared with you what it would cover when I was with you the last time, talking about additional ways that the MPS could support the kind of the clean and beautiful initiatives with their fountains and trash pickup, making sure that we had some support on the parkways that lead to the district. Some of the public safety issues that we experience relate to illegal guns that are being trafficked on our parkways. And so I think that would be helpful. The chief request, however, was that the task force, the president or whomever on the executive side would get the Congress to pass this bill. Because one of the things, if we have to make drastic cuts, which it looks like we have to be very serious about planning for, it could affect some ways that we keep the city safe. Yes, next question.
Yes, we just wanted to get an update on where we are with the budget. That was what my question was.
Okay, got it. Yes.
I had a question concerning Peace DC. Given the fact that the Office on Returning Citizens Affairs is hosting events this week, I wanted to get clarity around to what degree was that office consulted about Peace DC, seeing as though the bill does touch on returning citizens affairs and making life easier for them.
Well, that's not our bill, so I think you would have to talk to the council member's office about that. I'm not aware of any of my offices, including returning citizens, weighing in on the council member Pinto's bill.
And in regards to Emancipation Day, I wanted to get your thoughts, Madam Mayor, on the significance of that day in the context of what we're currently facing as a city.
Well, we have, and I have to acknowledge the leadership of Councilmember Vincent Orange, who for many years championed the Emancipation Day holiday in the district through the council. We have for many years hosted a parade and celebration on Emancipation Day, recognizing that in D.C., because of the Compensated Emancipation Act, that enslaved people were first freed. Before Juneteenth, before the Emancipation Proclamation, but here in Washington, D.C. I frequently reflect on what it means, though, especially in the context of these budget disputes, that we're not, I think I've said it, I've called us free-ish. We're free-ish as citizens until we have two senators in complete autonomy. Okay, thank you, everybody.